Hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mac, Play Fast Football. All right, today we're going to do a video on peel pressures, which are usually 6 or 7 man pressures with peel coverage, which means somebody involved in the rush, possibly peeling to cover a back out in a route. All right, make sure you check out our sponsors in the description box below. I will leave a link that takes you directly to GameStrat's website. GameStrat is the sideline replay system that I have used the last 2 years. Absolutely love it. Our coaches love it. Great customer service, good people, good company. So if you're interested or you're looking for a sideline replay system, maybe you're not happy with your sideline replay system, I say you give GameStrat a shot. In the description box, click on the link, take you directly to their site. Difference USA, which is the ultimate striking machine, which we have one in our weight room that we're going to be using in the off season. Get thousands of reps working on striking, elbows in, thumbs up, hand placement, eye placement, hips, all the things you need to do to become a violent striking team. And you do it without needing a partner, nobody to hold a bag, nobody to hold a med ball. You just have you and the Difference USA strike machine. All right, Just Play Football. It's just digital software to take your program to the next level. It's the only diagram play tool that I use to draw or diagram plays. Anytime I'm going to speak at clinics or do webinars, if I have to draw things up digitally on a computer, it's the only tool I'll use. So check out Just Play Football. Defensive Coordinator 1, which is a brand new 1-year-old in-game app that allows you to chart games live and then make your adjustments based on the data that you are charting with live, based on a template that you've already inputted into the app. It is going to be something in the future that I think is going to be very valuable for teams to use. I think they're going to do a great job tweaking what they learned from this past year, and I think the product moving forward is going to be outstanding. They, along with GameStrat, will be at the PlayFast Clinic as vendors, so make sure you're going to come out and check out the PlayFast Clinic in January. Those two companies will be vendors, along with Dome Hats, which is one of our major sponsors at PlayFast Football. Dome Hats is a local company here in Northeast Florida. It's a hat company that I use for my football program and my PlayFast Football brand. They have a custom online hat generator where you can build your own hats. You can generate, as long as you have a PDF logo and something that you want to use, you can generate your own hat using your own custom colors. You can change all the different panels on the hat to make them different colors. They've got multiple styles of hats. They've got fitted, they've got Velcro, they've got snapback, they've got beanies, they've got visors, they've got it all. So they'd like to get into every state, every sport, every staff. Everybody uses hats for one reason or another, whether it's part of your uniform or part of your fundraising. Why not check out Dome Hats and use Dome as your hat provider? All right, great company, great customer service. They will be at the PlayFast Clinic, former football players themselves, so check out Dome Hats. All right, so one of the reasons I wanted to take a look at peel pressures today was got a chance this weekend to do something that I normally don't do a lot of. And that was basically sit down on pretty much all day Saturday and watch college football. Normally during the season, when I am in season, I do not watch a lot of college football live. I only watch things on YouTube or any video that I can get my hands on so that I can take a look at some things that I want to study. But I don't watch a lot of games live during the year. Don't have a lot of time to do it. Now that the season is over and now that we are about a week and a half to 2 weeks removed, I now have that time and that, the want to actually watch some games live. And there are a lot of, this weekend for me, there were a lot of good matchups on TV, things that I wanted to see offensively and defensively. And it just so happened that it was a great weekend of matchups to watch. And so I started watching some of those games. And, one of the things I started noticing was, some teams that are up and coming that are starting to break through in different conferences that are not really there, maybe talent-wise yet, but they're making a lot of noise, and defensively they're having to do a lot of things differently to kind of combat the more talented offenses that they're seeing. All right, and then the answers that some of the offenses are coming up with to combat some of the new defenses that are out there. So, that chess game, that checkers game, that cat and mouse, if that's what you're into, if you love that like me, if that's one of the reasons that you love the strategic side of coaching, outside of being in coaching to help kids and to help develop young athletes into young men. If you're into coaching or you like the strategic side like I do, the X's and O's and the schematics and that chess game, I think this weekend there were some great matches. So one of the things I noticed was, there's a lot of teams now that are using more odd front hybrid personnel defenses, getting more speed on the field versus spread attacks. And then they are trying to kind of change up not only coverage-wise, but a lot of their pressures, where they're coming from, what they're doing, and just trying to give the offense as many different looks as they can, while at the same time still trying to stay sound. And then, offensively, what I've seen is I've seen a lot of teams that are, spread in nature with some really good run game, but at the same time, when they get into their passing game, having ways to use the quarterback, whether it be manipulated schematic draw plays or the quarterback just extending plays, the cat and mouse chess game that occurs between how many are you trying to drop on defense, how many are you trying to rush on defense, are you trying to cover, are you trying to kill, and then what is the offense trying to do to basically respond to that. And what I noticed in a lot of those games was in a lot of certain down and distances, when teams would try to cover and take away some of the things that offenses were doing, teams that have the quarterback that has the ability to extend plays, when teams would play any matching zone coverages or maybe any man type coverages to take away certain things, quarterback would extend plays and would give the other team fits. When defenses tried to pressure a little bit, it was good when they got home and got in the quarterback's face and disrupted the timing. But again, when they didn't get home, certain teams don't have the man players to match up on the back end with the teams they're playing. So, man coverages or zero coverages aren't really the best. And other teams don't really have the athletes to match up with the quarterback who's becoming, the college game to me, I watch so much college football as opposed to NFL football, because with the exception of a few NFL teams now with Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson, a few teams, the NFL game is so different because basically where the quarterback's going to be, where the launch point is, that he's never going to be a ball carrier. So a lot of the defensive schemes are developed around the fact that you can get +1 in the run game without having to account for the quarterback. Where the launch point's going to be, so when you pressure, where he is all the time. And when you pressure, if you don't get home, he really can't do a lot to hurt you, with the exception of a few guys now in the NFL. So the college game, because the quarterback, similar to the high school game, is usually one of the better athletes on the field, and usually a guy that not only can be part of the run game and be an added number and potentially create sometimes in one back an extra gap in the run game because of lead blockers and things that they can do, but then become a 5 receiver in the route quarterback draw theory team. Because the quarterback is that kind of guy, I think it's way more conducive to high school football that we live in the world that I live in, at least, trying to schematically find ways on offense and defense to do things to win football games with the talent that we have. So for me, I love watching college football because it's more informative to me. I think the NFL is a more competitive game. I think the talent is more even in the NFL, and I think the NFL is the ultimate coaching ground or proving ground for coaches, because I think every week you've got to be on top of what you're doing because anybody can beat you. And in college football, there's probably, I don't know what the percentage is, and, just to throw a number out there, 60 to 70% of the games are really only going to be won by one team. There's really maybe 25 or 30% of the games each week, if that many, that have a chance to be won by either team. So I think NFL football is more competitive, but I think college football is more conducive to what we do. So one of the reasons I wanted to draw up these peel pressures is it looked to me like some of the games I was watching, teams had an answer to where they could get extra pressure on the quarterback while still keeping a guy free to do some of the things that they wanted to do. And the way that you do that is you use peel pressures, which means, all right, in a six-man peel pressure, normally when you send 6, unless the backs stay in to protect and you're going to add guys onto the rush, a lot of times when you send 6, you end up in 0 coverage. All right, and if the back stays in, you may try to add a guy on to get a 7, but if you're in 0 coverage and the back stays in, and they have 6 and you send 6 and they hold up long enough, all right, they're finding ways to beat man coverage. They're finding ways with different rubs and picks and, formations and motions to beat your man coverage. And then they're also finding ways for the quarterback to extend. So one of the ways around that to send that sixth rusher, but feel like you've got an extra player, whether that be a cut player, a post player, or a quarterback player, is to send peel pressures. Now, one of the reasons I like, and we moved to 3-3 stack personnel and 3-3-5 personnel, is because I like playing with 5 secondary players and I like playing with 3 safeties, because especially versus spread teams, when I want to do things that are more man-orientated or extra in the game plan, I feel like I have the bodies on the field to do it. So for us, if we wanted to run a peel pressure, all right, out of a 3-3 personnel grouping, for us, by sending backers as edge rushers, now we don't have to worry about peeling that 270-pound defensive end or that 260-pound defensive end. Now, we do it at times, all right, in some of our 6-man hot pressures, we will peel ends, but if I really want a pressure that I know is going to be a peel pressure with guys that might have to be in coverage, I would rather send backers off the edge or safeties off the edge so that if a back releases and I have to peel into coverage to play him, I have a better matchup. Now, with that being said, as far as the way I teach these, everybody in the pressure has to be a peel or a man player, because if you get a half slide team or a team that's going to turn the center and pick up with a back, or you even get a busted protection, whoever ends up getting blocked by the back has to be ready to play the back man so that you can handle potential screens or late releases by that back in the middle, because that's where you can get hurt in peel pressures. Normally in peel pressures, if the back releases wide, on paper, schematically, in theory, you can release with the back. Now, whether that matchup is good or not, whether they can throw it to the back and he makes your guy miss, is a different story. But at least on paper, you can get a guy to cover a route, all right, that isn't running wide open. So you have a player that can peel. Well, if the back releases up into the middle and tries to then run any screen routes or any delay routes or anything where he tried to check down and get through the middle, some of these peel pressures where you can get beat and where we've been hurt at times is when that back leaks through, you don't get the quarterback on the ground, he's able to extend the play, and then that back leaking through the middle is wide open because your peel players, all right, aren't peeling on him because he didn't release wide. All right, so we try to tell every one of our players that are rushing the quarterback in a peel situation, you're all man players on the back. If the back ends up making contact with you, all right, to protect, you then have to buy the back and play him man-to-man. All right, so that's tougher to do with interior players. Obviously, it takes a little bit more work, all right, but I think if you're going to run effective peel pressures and you want to spend time in the peel pressures, you've got to talk to all the 6 players involved in the rush about how to pick the back up, all right, man-to-man, if for whatever reason he is responsible for you in the protection. And again, normally it would be a backer on either a wide release or a backer when the center turns that gets picked up. But in high school, you're playing with 15, 16-year-old kids. They might screw the protection up, and you know that back may end up blocking your nose because the center turned to the mic and the nose was left unblocked. All right, so all of those guys, in my opinion, have to understand how to be able to play a back, how to mug up a back if a back tries to block in a peel theory, all right, because the back is unaccounted for by all the other players, all right? But where you get a bonus, in my opinion, all right, and where you can get creative with your game plan is now that you are playing peel coverage on a back in a 10 personnel setting, you have an extra player. Whether you want to put that player in the post to defend the deep ball, whether you want to put that player down to cut meshes or underneath routes or, you know, maybe drag screens, you know, those under screens that are now occurring to where they look like they are, you know, mesh or pass routes, but they end up being behind the line of scrimmage so guys can actually block. Or you want that guy on the QB because if the QB gets out and you're in man coverage, you want to be able to avoid big plays. Or you want him there to cut any leakage by the back that is trying to peel. Whatever the case may be, you can now send 6, all right, and you can use the extra player in the game plan however you want. However you want to tag it. You can cut him, you can put him in the post, you can play him on the QB. Whatever you want to do, he's an extra player. He's that free player in that original, you know, 5-man free pressure. All right, well, now you're getting 6-man free pressure. So now you're sending 6 and still playing man free because your guys involved in the rush are responsible for the back. Okay, and then within the 3-3 structure, depending on the types of kids that you have, you can get, all right, as creative as you want to in the blitz patterns, as long as everybody understands how to pick up or the edge people understand how to peel, all right? Best case scenario for us is put backers on the edge so that if the back does push or motion or wide flare, you have at least somewhat of a matchup with an athlete that can somewhat match up with a back as opposed to your 230, 40, 50-pound end, depending on the type of school you're at, out on the back. All right, now if the back ends up on your 1 or 3 technique or nose guard in the middle because of the protection and the nose guard has to mug him up, now you got to hope that you can get home and just stay on that back long enough that he can't leak out, or your extra player might be able to provide some help, because obviously your 1 technique or your 3 technique or your nose guard on the back isn't the greatest scenario in the world, but because the pressure you're sending, you're hoping that you can get home, all right? And if the back picks up one of your interior linemen, that means the other 5, you have one-on-one matchups with your other 5 rushers on 5 linemen. You got to try and win one of those. Okay, so if you're looking for a way, if the other team is a little bit more talented and you've got to create some movement and you've got to pressure, but at the same time, you can't afford to stay in zero coverage all day, or you can't afford the quarterback to get out, look into running some peel pressures, some 6-man peel pressures. All right, you can run them. Also, you can run them against, you can run them, if you're getting 2-man or 2-back 20 personnel, and again, these are more spread theories, all right, than they are, necessarily 21 personnel or pro theories, but if you are getting that twins open 2-back, now your determination has to be who are you going to peel, all right? When you go to play man-to-man, who do you want to peel if you want to leave, all right, the pressure as simplistic as possible for all of your guys, and you want to run the same thing. All right, now what you got to understand is you're going to peel one of these backs, all right? To always peel the dot behind the quarterback or that tailback is the easiest thing in the game plan, so your guys know that if it's 1 back, you're going to peel the remaining back. If it's 2 back, you're going to peel potentially that tailback that's either in the pistol or offset if they're a Y-off or a 20 personnel or 11 personnel type team where this guy is generically a fullback tight end. Okay, so you can cover the fullback tight end man-to-man with a man player, all right, and always peel to make it easy on your players. Always peel the 1 back or the tailback or the dot, behind the quarterback in the pistol or the offset dot, all right? But as far as a game plan, if this guy releases or is more dangerous, if they're an offset team, all right, and maybe, all right, this guy catches more passes than that fullback tight end is, they almost never throw the ball to that fullback tight end, you may want, in your game plan, you may want to treat him as the number 2, play him man-to-man, and peel that fullback tight end, because when you're going through your tendencies and your scouting reports, this guy doesn't catch a lot of passes, they don't release him in a lot of routes, so why don't we peel him and cover the guy that actually releases in more routes? So, from a game plan or a schematic standpoint, you'd probably want to peel the guy that is less likely to release in a 2-back set. But as far as a simplicity standpoint for your kids, and I always lean towards simplicity, depending on the team I have. Most of the time, I'm going to lean towards simplicity. If I've got a peel pressure, and I work that peel pressure a lot versus 1-back, if we get 2-back, I make it real easy for our guys and say, hey guys, we're always going to peel the tailback. All right, so if we get any pistol or any offset, we are always going to peel that back in the back, and we will play man, come over and play man on that sniffer fullback, because it keeps our rules the same, all right, for everything that we do. Now, the bigger question you would have is, what do you do if they go split back? Now, if they go split back, you would better communicate, all right, who you're peeling so that all the guys up front, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 6 of them better know, hey, we're going to peel number 2, or hey, we're going to peel number 80, all right, whatever. They better know between the 6 peelers and that extra man player, all right, they had better communicate who we're covering and who we're peeling in a two-back scenario, because you can get yourself in a little bit of trouble there. All right, so as long as you keep it simple, all right, as long as you keep it simple, you can get yourself to where simplicity, peel the tailback. All right, peel the person that's less likely to catch a pass based on their statistics. Peel that fullback or that sniffer. Maybe they're a team that puts the fullback or the sniffer in, and he's one of their best receivers, but the tailback rarely catches any passes. Peel the tailback. All right, so use schematics, use statistics, use tendencies, anything else that you might need to use to figure out who you want to peel. But peel pressures are a great way to send a six rusher, get an extra guy, still play man-free, have everybody on the field covered, have an answer for the quarterback if he scrambles. Remember that the first Play Fast Clinic is January 24th, 25th, 26th, 2020, St. Augustine, Florida, at the Embassy Suites, right on the ocean. You can go to the website, www.playfastfbclinic.com, to register for the clinic, and also check out information on a hotel. If you stay at the Embassy Suites, you will get made-to-order breakfast every day you're there. 4 people stay in a room, and you will get 2-hour happy hours each day as an Embassy Suites guest. So make sure you check out www.playfastfbclinic.com, all right, for the first ever Play Fast football clinic on the ocean, on the beach in St. Augustine, Florida, January 24th, 25th, 26th. I appreciate everything you guys do. Click that like button, subscribe, notifications, so you know that when we do videos. Comment. I'll get back to every comment that you leave. All right, remember, you won't play well till you play fast. See you guys next time.